Namaste, viewers. Welcome to Jaipur Dialogue USA. And Vibhuti Jha is with you today to talk about the short take that I'm going to make on a very important topic. And that is how wokeist philosophy is penetrating and trying to influence our thinking cap. I'm referring to a very interesting statement attributed to a very famous Indian commentator on CNN, Mr. Fareed Zakaria. And he said, without his words, and it is there on Twitter and it is there on YouTube, you can see it. I'm not making it up. It's about liberal authoritarianism. He says to the extent that he would support liberal authoritarianism so long as those are building blocks of civilized and modern government, open and pluralistic. Think about it. The word liberal authoritarianism. The last time I saw in history the concept used like this was Napoleon Bonaparte, who was called a benevolent despot. This is the word play. This is what wokeism does to you. When you begin to justify, and he talks about China, and he gives a general reference to Singapore's Lee Kuan Yew. That's the important part. How China has infiltrated in the minds of people of democracy to justify liberal authoritarianism. Do you feel silly listening to that word, liberal authoritarianism? I do. I do not know about you. But before I go on further, I would like you to subscribe, support, and like our channel, because we bring you ideas and thoughts that very few people dare to talk. And I say this also because in a recent show, Bill Maher, a very good commentator and a comedy guy, he said, that is, I'm afraid to make a comedy because I do not know which mob will get after me after that. And he attributed that he doesn't say as many things as earlier he did because comedy is like working on a rooftop with a blindfold. You do not know which one will take you down, which step will take you down. That's the extent of how the thought is pushed into your mind to talk about it. I do understand one thing very clearly as a sportsman and a life leading person, coaching and everything else, that there is a discipline required in doing things. So if you are a sportsman, you have to be in a discipline of practice. That's not authoritarianism. That is a requirement of being better. In any job that you do, you have to learn, you have to practice, and you have to become better. That's the only way you become better. But I'm concerned about that. Think about it. Is there something like a restricted freedom as an ideology? Whereas we have First Amendment in America that guarantees freedom of speech even if it is hate speech. But you can regulate it and point it out, but nobody shoots down somebody because of speech. So freedom of speech is critical. And that's what it has, I think, very important to say here. It is a civilizational issue. Are we looking for a change? Do we want that kind of a change to come about? Of liberal authoritarianism, a benevolent despot, a restricted freedom? Do we want to live a life like that? And that's very important for you and I to decide on this. The other aspect which is very important for us to talk about, again, we live in America, which is a bastion of freedom, which one of the states has a state slogan, live free or die. That's important. The entire Arab Spring was about freedom. Everybody wants freedom. Azadi, have you heard about that? Everybody wants freedom. But freedom as per my definition. You follow my freedom, my approach, my philosophy, and you are free. Guess what? None of us are. Because freedom requires a reciprocity and respect for everybody else. One of the things that happens in a communist ideology and the current woke philosophy is that you are forced to think that if you disagree with me, you are to be cancelled. There is no freedom, there is no reciprocity. So you can criticize my way of doing my prayers, my murti puja, my style of living, but I can't criticize yours. Is that freedom? It's for us to decide what freedom actually means, and we have to demand reciprocity from people. So, will Mr. Farid Zakaria and others who profess that part agree that I can question your wisdom? Then there is an element of freedom. If you say that, no, I'm wrong, that's what begins really a disturbing trend for all of us. And as very aware people, we have to think about these things because we are affected by that. So let me give you another example. In this country today, you have a scenario in which if you have a high credit rating, which you earn, by the way, by managing your business, your finance, and your life, that you have a higher credit rating, you get lower interest rates on your purchases and your house buying and everything else. It gives you a self-satisfaction that you are 700 plus in the credit rating, and you get a good rating for that. You earned it. But now the government wants to say that high credit rating people must pay more interest in their purchases to subsidize those who do not have a higher credit rating. Now, that is a matter of achievement. It's an aspiration. We all fall into some kind of a bad situation, but we don't remain there. We fight and we get over that. That's a sense of achievement. This is what is important for us to remember, that when words like this are pushed onto you, that you have to pay more interest to subsidize somebody who has lower credit rating, then why the hell should I work? That 0.1 or that 0.2% that you will pay more will be there on your mortgage until you pay off, whether it's 15 or 30 years. And you are bearing the burden of that until it goes away. That's what is important for us to become aware of how an idea is shoved on us. And one of the key things, I will say this here to you, that we do not know what's happening in our schools because this indoctrination that happens thanks to technology, we have access to any and all information all the time. It's only when you shut down your computer or your iPad or your iPhone that you shut the universe. There is a phrase in Hindi, "Duniya meri muthi mein hai." That's what it is. The world is in your palm right now. We get to know things. And this is what is important. When an idea is shoved around to make you accept, oh, because X is saying so, because he's a very famous guy, he must be making sense. There is a challenge because that is confusing discipline with authoritarianism. You see the difference? How the woke philosophy slithers in like a snake next to you. And then you begin to say, oh, yeah, I'm also authoritarian. I'm okay to be authoritarian with my children, tell them to do what they must do. But that's not it. That's what is important for us to bear. The other part which comes from this entire woke phenomenon that comes out is that we get eliminated. They are opposed to freedom. Think deeply about it. It's my way or highway. You are seeing in play. It is happening in real time to all of us. So, point of the matter is that these short takes are very important because it's meant to make you think and ignite a passion in you and encourage you to participate in your local communities, local school boards, to see how children are getting indoctrinated. The sad part is, majority of us and majority of American parents are not involved in children's education because that's where the brain is switched. Think about it. Again, I will say this to you, that children have been told by schools, and you have enough evidence of that they can take a gender decision and the school will support them and you don't need to tell your parents. Think as a parent or going to be a parent, how wild and how weird is it that we are being told, even President Biden made a statement, I heard it too, that children are national asset. If they are national property, they can be taken away. That's a very sad development happening in America. where somewhere along the line we are being curbed, we are being manipulated, we are being attacked, and we are not aware of that because we are so called comfort, live in a comfort zone of our own. This is what is important for us. Technology has brought about a tectonic shift in which we communicate. Look at us today. I'm communicating with you a message, a thought, but there are possibilities that there is suddenly a mob is created and mob does a mass reporting and you get sidelined, you get cancelled. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to fight that. And we have to fight that not because it is fashionable to fight, because it's all about us, our basic existence. So beware of the wordplay. Beware of the how the insidious way when certain messages are being inserted in our life. This is critical for our survival, the way we are, and the way we can be, and the way we will end up as. Enough for the day. Thank you very much for watching me and hearing me and listening to me. I want to thank all of you because ever since I have started these short takes, you have begun to respond, and I deeply appreciate that, and I deeply acknowledge that. So like, subscribe, view our channels, share the thoughts. Let there be a dialogue, let there be a discussion, because without dialogue and discussion, the conversation doesn't move forward. If I tell you, shut up and listen to me, there is no dialogue, there is no conversation. That's what is important for us to know, particularly living in America and being an Indian. Both are important because both India and America are beacons of democracy, of total freedom. There would be some mishaps here and there, they always happen. But when an ideological shift is being attempted, that's the time where we have to be careful. Satyamev Jayate, as I always say, truth will triumph. Thank you for watching us.